I want to start off your day by giving you 7 reasons. 7 why you shouldn't be panicking over the LA Rams as much as you should be realistic. Multiple media outlets overseas are reporting that the LA Galaxy are about to make a major signing for next year. And I want to tell you why I believe LeBron James isn't really a Laker as much as he is a mercenary wearing Lakers clothing. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelinos. It's October 5th, 2022, and obviously I want to start off by thanking the new subscribers who joined our channel. We added a couple of more yesterday. I appreciate every last one of you. And if you like the content that we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comments, because that's why I created this channel in the first place. I'm too old to be an influencer. This is not influential, okay? So before we go through the news and notes around LA, we'll take a quick look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, the bad news. Colorado beats the Dodgers 5-2. But the good news, Julio Urias wins the National League ERA title. And we'll get to a little bit more on that in a moment. Meanwhile, today, finally, game 162 at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Colorado at the Dodgers. That's Clayton Kershaw is 11-3. Noah Davis hasn't pitched yet this year for the Rockies. So, the Rams, they got their booties kicked up in San Francisco. And Coach Sean McVay, you know, he is the type of guy that will point the finger at himself, take some responsibility. But he also did mention, quote, self-inflicted wounds, just above the neck errors, unquote, for the offensive struggles on Monday. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the idea that the team can always play better and he can always coach better. But here are 7 reasons wrapped up in one statement why the LA Rams are having trouble moving the ball. They have 7 injured offensive linemen. What do you expect? 7 injured offensive linemen, okay? They were down to their 3rd string center, the guy who calls the blocking schemes to keep the quarterback upright. You had the 3rd best option over the football, right? He's going to be able to tell everybody how to stop Joey Bosa. He's going to be able to tell everybody how to stop that pretty impressive front line that the 49ers have on defense? Of course not. No wonder Matthew Stafford was sacked 7 times on Monday. For that matter, when you have that many injured offensive linemen, you go back to the season opener. No wonder he was sacked 7 times against the Bills. You have to simply acknowledge when you're outmanned up front and try to adjust accordingly. Because injuries just happen. It's a violent game. You're out 7 linemen. And by the way, guard Coleman Shelton, who was already coming in as a reserve when he became a guard in game 1, shifted over to center to be a reserve when Brian Allen went down. And now he's injured. Coleman Shelton is out for at least a month with a high ankle sprain. We might see Brian Allen playing this week at center, but we don't know yet. So at some point, unfortunately, you have to acknowledge reality and simply ride out the storm. 7 injured offensive linemen. Got to be real about it. Also on defense, there was an injury. Safety Jordan Fuller is out at least 2 weeks, possibly 4, with a hamstring injury. Also, switching sports, multiple foreign media outlets, and I preface this by saying I do not trust the foreign press when it comes to soccer. They always run things without even quotes and sources. I think that 9 times out of 10, they're pulling the stories straight out of their unwashed asses. 3 foreign media outlets are reporting that the Galaxy will be signing ex-FC Barcelona striker, ex-Liverpool striker, Luis Suarez in January. If it is true, I'm not even sure I like that move that much. But we'll get to why in just a half second. If they do add Suarez, who is currently in Uruguay. He left Europe. He's playing for one of his national teams. If the stories are true, he will be getting $7 million a year, which would make him number 2 in MLS in salary, passing Chicharito for number 1 on the Galaxy in terms of money. The Galaxy would cut Douglas Costa to make room for the guy. Now, here's why I don't like the move. He's 35. Does he really have the legs anymore, even in MLS? I'm skeptical of that. Number 2, he came back to Uruguay. He had left Europe. The competition is tougher in Europe than Uruguay, and he's not exactly lighting it up in Uruguay. Number 3 reason why I don't like the move, he eats people. He was suspended for a long time because he got frustrated and went Mike Tyson on an opponent, tried to chew off the guy's ear. Do you really want a frustrated cannibal on your team? I don't. I don't want to buy the guy's jersey. Zlatan was kind of annoying, but he was hilariously annoying. Luis Suarez chews people's faces. Big difference. Not down with it. Here is an interesting yet disturbing little quote regarding the Lakers. So very likely this year, LeBron James is going to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the NBA's number 1 all-time leading scorer. And so the scribes, they're always looking for the feel-good story. They're always looking for the heartwarming story. And they go up to LeBron and they ask, hey, you're a Lakers great and you're about to pass one of the all-time Lakers legends. What type of relationship do you have with Kareem? To which LeBron said, quote, no thoughts and no relationship. Unquote. Now, even to a guy like me, that's cold. It really is. And if I may be so bold, I think this is a reason that illustrates clearly why LeBron James isn't a Laker as much as he is a mercenary wearing a Lakers jersey. Okay? When he comes out to the Lakers, he was much different than a lot of other players who were either drafted or signed with the Lakers who were already great. Everybody else would look up to the rafters, they would see the names, and they would actually be humbled a little bit. You look at Shaquille O'Neal, big ego, massive talent, called himself the most dominant era, and yet he always held in great reverence Kareem, Chamberlain, even George Mikan. Called him Mr. Mikan for Pete's sakes. You talk about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant revered Magic, revered Jerry West. They all revered Elgin Baylor, James Worthy. So what are we looking at here? They would all put the ego aside. Now, I acknowledge that Kareem has a reputation, especially when he played, as being a little standoffish, a little surly. But if you really wanted to know a Laker, Kareem would absolutely be top 2 on the list of people that you would want to know? This guy is a fascinating man. Yeah, he has strong views on race relations. Yeah, he and LeBron had some differences of opinion. But Kareem learned the pyramid of success under John Wooden and loved and revered John Wooden. That's fascinating. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is an author multiple times. He's written fiction. He's written nonfiction. He fought Bruce Lee in a movie. Who wouldn't want to talk to a man about that? And oh, by the way, Kareem's scene in Airplane was way funnier than anything LeBron James could have possibly come up with in Space Jam 2. Who wouldn't want to know this guy? So no, I understand. Just because you have some disagreements with a guy, many of my friends have profound disagreements with me, and I love them to death. Why would you not want to know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? So I have a real thing here. I believe that if you think about it, no matter any problems that you and I may have had or disagreements you and I may have had with a lot of the Laker greats, we knew they were Lakers. And once a Laker, always a Laker. But with LeBron James, do we really hold him with that level? Do we? Because I'm here to tell you, LeBron James just always strikes me as a soldier of fortune. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a Laker. There's a big, big difference. Julio Urias finished the season with a 2.16 ERA. This is the 16th time in Dodgers history that they have won the National League ERA title. Sandy Koufax, Clayton Kershaw, they have each won it 5 times each. Very impressive. Now, as for the immediate future for the Dodgers, we do not know who the Game 1 starter is going to be on the mound, and we also know that Joey Gallo has been added to the postseason roster. I've been reading a lot about rookie rankings, who's been drafted, and before the year, we all know that Zion Johnson, the guard for the Chargers, was given high marks, and they thought he was going to be a leader for a long time to come. But he is disturbingly in the mid-teens and has been throughout the year compared to a lot of other rookies, right? Like Drake London of the Falcons, former USC receiver, he's going far and away as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. So they're not saying that Zion Johnson sucks. They're just saying he's just there. He's just there. And if anything, don't be surprised if Chargers rookie Jeremiah Salyer gets a lot more hype as the year goes along. A 6th-round draft pick out of Georgia, but if he's at left tackle and if he can keep Justin Herbert alive, Salyer might wind up getting a lot more love than Zion Johnson. Just a possibility. Over at USC, one of the things that was always concerning was the offensive line depth, just like the Rams, or really, in this case, offensive line shallowness, because that got exposed when they played Arizona State. Left tackle Cortland Ford, he didn't really play a lot because he had an ankle injury, and then they lose right guard Justin Diedrich, also with an injury. And USC winds up rushing for only 137 yards, which was a season low. I bring this up because they're about to face Washington State, which is 7th in the nation in sacks. Their depth on offensive line is about to be tested because we don't know if Diedrich is going to play. Also at USC, but a different sport, last week we discussed recruit Vincent Iwuchukwu of the basketball team. He had cardiac arrest in the summer, and now he's talking comeback. He's already riding a bike. The LA Times calls it inspiring. I call it scary. Let's just be real. Cardiac arrest, that's scary. I think it's a little... Look, I'm not a doctor, never met the guy. I'm just saying. I don't want to see somebody dying on the court, because that happened way back in the day. That was with over at Loyola Marymount. We don't need a repeat of that. I mentioned earlier about the foreign soccer press and the LA Galaxy and Luis Suarez. I want you to keep in mind, if you're an LAFC supporter, that I don't have an issue with Gareth Bale, but the foreign press always has. The foreign press has no love and no chill for Gareth Bale. They have taken to calling him, quote, the guest star. Because he's always coming off the bench. The guest star, like on one of those 1970s shows, like The Love Boat or something like that. He's the guest star. They don't like that guy at all, man. Not in the slightest. Finally, I have one note about the LA Kings, because they do have a glut of players that are pressing to make the big club. This is definitely true on defense. And the reason I bring this up, you remember Tobias Bjornfoot? He's a very young guy. I think he's barely drinking age. He played more games than any other defenseman last year, and yet the LA Kings prospect pool is so deep on defense that even though he played more games than anybody else with the big club on D last year, he could be in Ontario in the minors again. Just a thought. Now, if you enjoyed this broadcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelinos. We talk LA sports here, and I got to tell you, this was a pretty interesting little episode. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelinos is a Can Corte El Queso production. Take care.